New card. What do you think?
Get over here! Hadouken!
That man is playing Galaga.
I understood that reference.
You shall not pass!
So say we all.
So say we all. Ride with me.
It's adamantium-tasting time, boys!
Well, make it so, number one.
All wings report in.
And welcome to your weekly interval. This is the Best Damn Nerd Show. I am your host, microphone alchemist James Kincaid. With me tonight, Chief Science Officer of Star Labs, Mark Truex.
I am 100% cannibal. Nice to be here.
And Professor from the School for Gifted Youngsters, Chris Davis.
I'm glad I'm in the northern part of the state now, so glad to know that, Mark. We will not be staying with you in Comic-Con.
Well, welcome back to the Best Damn Nerd Show, everybody, and welcome back, Mark Truex, and congratulations to you, Mark. You welcomed a new baby, a bundle of joy into the world. Congratulations, man.
I did. Thank you. Yeah, we brought home our beautiful second daughter. So it's very nice, very wonderful for us. And we're just happy everyone's safe and healthy and at home.
Yeah, I'm thrilled for you.
So much estrogen in that house.
Dude, there's a lot. There's a lot.
How are you going to survive?
Well, my wife agreed that our new baby show, since we can't do anything with a newborn, is The Sopranos. So I'm stocking up on some testosterone through that.
There you go.
It's good. Yeah, it's over.
You finished The Mandalorian yet, Mark?
Yes, we did.
What'd you think?
Delightful. What a delightful show. God, that was so good, man. And it was just like I saw when it first happened. It was wonderful. Yeah, Luke came around, and that was neat. I mean, that was like when they first showed. I'm sure you guys already discussed this, but
Yeah, but I want to hear from you.
Like when they first started showing, I'm like, oh yeah, an X-wing. Oh yeah, some dude in black. It's got to be Luke. I mean, it could not be Luke, but it has to be Luke, right? It has to be Luke. And I'm watching it with my wife and my brother-in-law, and they're not as nerded out. They're like, why would that be Luke? This is too far. Like, that's so long ago. Why would he be here? I thought he was on an island. I'm like, no, it's a different timeline. It's all right. That could totally be
like
Luke.
A good one.
You see one glove. I'm like, that's totally Luke. And then they finally showed young Luke, young hot Luke. I was all about it. Marky Hammy's up in the mix.
Yeah.
It was the best.
Not a great deep fake.
Yeah.
But
it's on par with
whatever.
the rest.
It's worth it.
Passable.
Worth it though.
Yeah, it was totally
much
passable.
better. Much better than anything the sequel trilogy has given us. So I'm sure you've had a lot of things to attend to, but you did watch Wonder Woman 1984, yes?
I did.
Oh.
I did.
What did you think?
I enjoyed it. And I am bracing it because I know you guys who don't like anything probably didn't.
That's bullshit. We just talked about how we like The Mandalorian.
You guys don't like anything.
we like The Mandalorian.
Nah, give
Mark.
me more stuff. Like, God, Wonder Woman 84 was delightful. It was a saucy superheroine romp in the 80s. What could be better?
You're gonna remember that movie?
You offended for Chris Pine? You were offended for Chris Pine? Is that it? Was there not enough Kristen Wiig for you?
No, I loved Chris Pine and Wonder Woman scenes. I thought those were the best parts of the movie.
Great.
I still take issue with the fact. I mean, a lot of the rest of it stunk, like the fact that they had no 80s music in an 80s movie. But I digress because I also have an announcement to make. Congratulations to Mark and his growing family. The dick bomb that I sent to that girl arrived, so that was delivered. So we all have stuff going on in our favor.
Did that go over like a lead
It's really
dick?
Mature and adult. It exploded. And I paid for the extra dicks, too, so I hope it made a big old mess. So congrats to all of us, really.
How do you know it exploded?
Because that's what I paid for. It's an exploding dick bomb.
But how do you know it got set off and exploded?
Because I have people that have had them sent to them before, so I can attest to the quality and craftsmanship that they put into it. So
What if you harmed this girl?
she harmed me
It's retribution, Mark.
emotionally, psychologically. Yeah, exactly. Deserved it. She deserved it. She might get one again next year too. I might haunt her for the rest of her days anonymously.
Just that address. They'll move and they'll still be dick
Yeah.
bombs going for years.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, welcome back to the Best Damn Nerd Show, everybody. It's great to have Mark back on with us too, and I appreciate you making the time. And despite the fact that you have new fatherly duties here, and I want to talk about though in this first segment with specifically Mark, because I know Davis is a Philistine that does not watch the Transformers show. Is that right,
I didn't
Davis?
know what this was, so
Okay.
so you guys have at it.
Dude, wow.
So that's
Dude, it's amazing. It's robots.
To be expected. Robots in disguise. They're more than meets the eye. Transformers Earthrise. You true believers will remember our well-regarded Transformers episode that we did last year. And now we want to circle back here as Transformers Earthrise has come out. Mark and I have both watched it through. What did you think, Mark?
I enjoyed it. So, yeah, I haven't gotten to watch a whole lot of TV or anything naturally. And I found myself with about a 2.5 hour window over the weekend where all the ladies in the house were taking a nap. I'm like, Papa's sitting down with some robots. And I crammed through all of it. I mean, it's only 6 Fs, which is great.
It's like 2 hours.
Epies for you kids out there. Episodes for you old men.
I was just going to say episodes for
Yeah,
for
you
the
know the
adults.
demographics, Mark.
But yeah, only 6 epies. And it was easy to binge. And there's so much story in it. It was phenomenal. Absolutely. I can't wait to actually talk about it here with you, Jimmy.
So I really loved so many of the callbacks and sort of nods to us old people, us olden folk that loved the original Transformers. In particular, the references to the
movie.
Transformers animated movie, which I force-fed Mark a healthy diet of that movie growing up. A lot, Dare to Be Stupid, which, by the way, I've used that in my pro wrestling commentary. I've got better things to do tonight than die. Dare to Be Stupid. I work in a lot of references to the Transformers, the animated movie, as much as I can in my pro wrestling
Do you
commentary.
tell anyone that they have the touch?
Yes, he's got the touch. So, it clearly, for the OG listeners know that the Transformers, the animated movie, I believe was the first film to get a perfect score from yours truly when we did movie night. So
A rare feat.
It is very prestigious. And so to see the references in Earthrise was awesome. I love, in particular, there's the scene where Optimus is looking at possible futures and it's him lying on the table and turning gray, like in the animated movie and stuff like that. That was awesome. And I really liked the look of the show too. And I know we talked about it a little bit in our previous episode, but I actually think the animation even looked better in this season with Earthrise. I don't know if they refined it at all, or maybe it was just sort of the change in tone or color they were using, but I actually think that it looked a little bit better this season. What were some of the standout highlights for you from Earthrise?
I liked the introduction of the mercenary faction.
Yeah,
there. I felt
Double
like the
Dealer was cool.
Yeah, I felt like they felt a little flat in grand scope when it was first teased there's going to be a whole new faction involved.
Yeah,
for the overall story of it, but the Double Dealer was cool. I like that there's this other rogue group out there. The revelation of the Quintesson. Am I saying it right? The Quintessons, yeah.
Quintessons, yeah.
Yeah.
Guilty or innocent.
Yeah, like that definitely got me going. I felt like the only real character with a solid arc was kind of Alita. Is that
Yeah,
right?
I think
Alita?
Alita won. I think Bumblebee
Alita won.
too, and that's something I want to discuss as well. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, I felt like a lot of the character arcs weren't necessarily there, except Megatron had a pretty decent one. Shockwave stood out. His whole thing with the draining of the Decepticons for powering his cells and things like that was phenomenal to see. And then, of course, that little glimpse, that little reveal at the very end on the last episode.
Hell yeah, dude.
Was delightful. And I don't know if we need to spoil it or not. So
yeah, let's put a spoiler alert on here. Maybe we can make a sounder or something like that moving forward. But yeah, spoiler alert.
Spoiler!
Thank you, Davis. You're always Johnny on the spot with that. But yeah, seeing Dinobot at the very end as we're going to be leading into Kingdom, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler as much as it was a nerdgasm moment, because at this point, the cat's out of the bag that Beast Wars, is being incorporated into Kingdom and everything like that. So I definitely really appreciated seeing Dinobot. It made me think that, we should just do a Beast Wars episode, Mark. I believe Beast Wars is streaming. I have them all on DVD in case they're not. So
What's it? Yeah, I don't know where it's streaming.
It might be streaming on Tubi, I think. So, but we can work that out. But I think we should do a Beast Wars episode to get ready for Kingdom, which comes out in May. But I really appreciated just all the little Easter eggs, seeing Unicron, Galvatron, and how that all played out.
Yeah, Galvatron on Megatron's more or less shoulder as the bad angel coaxing him along. I thought was an absolutely splendid episode.
Yeah, I think my favorite episode is when I think it's that same episode. It's when Prime is with Skylynx and is sort of sussing out who he is and what his destiny could be and everything like that. Because again, if I do have a criticism of Transformers, the War for Cybertron trilogy, they haven't really nailed Optimus Prime yet. He really stepped up in maybe the last 2 episodes of this season to be better, but he still was kind of borderline annoying throughout most of this season with how he's just kind of a fail through too much of this. And also, I can't blame the voice actor entirely, because maybe that's how he was coached or directed, but the delivery of his lines sometimes are painful, borderlining on hilariously bad. There's a point where he's talking to Megatron, and Megatron's like, "Yeah, I built a ship," and he goes, "You built a ship?" And it's like, what are we doing here, man? But they have sort of not really found their footing with Optimus Prime, which makes me sad, because he is the alpha and omega of the Transformers, in terms of heroes and everything like that. But I was trying to look at it through the prism of that this is a kid's show. It's TVY7 or whatever it is.
I don't agree with that rating, though. I mean,
it's dark.
I
don't agree with that rating. As a father of 2, I don't agree with it. This ain't Rescue Bots.
Neither one of them are 7 yet, though, to be fair, Mark. So maybe at 7 years old, you'd feel differently. It is dark, but it is a kid's show. So I definitely try and look at it through that prism. And I am happy that kids growing up have this Transformer show to watch. It's because they all look how they're supposed to. For the most part, they're all acting how they are supposed to and everything like that within the established Transformers canon of old, which makes me happy. And it's just cool that they get to grow up with this kind of Transformers show. But I do feel like they didn't really nail Optimus yet. And I think if I were a kid watching this, I'd be more attracted to, sort of being a Bumblebee fan than I would be an Optimus Prime
Isn't
fan.
that the narrative now, though? Isn't that what they're always trying to do, is make Bumblebee the thing?
There's a long, proud history of making Bumblebee a thing throughout Transformers, but Optimus Prime was always sort of like Captain Planet. When he shows up, the day is saved, kind of deal. In this show, he shows up, and more often than not, he gets his ass handed to him. And I'm not feeling it. And he makes a lot of bad decisions. I do think by the end of this season, he started to turn the tide on that a little bit. So hopefully Kingdom, he continues that trend. But overall, I'm a little bit disappointed in what they've done with Prime. What say you?
It kind of feels like they are setting him up to get, retired. In one sense, probably kill him off again. Maybe.
I hope not.
And then, elevate Alita 1 to take over. Because I
like the love story between them.
I like that pseudo love story in the first season, but in this one, where she just really established herself as a formidable opponent, even for Megatron running the raids on the Decepticon bases and things, was fantastic to see. Even how she kept nut checking Jetfire and getting him in line, and ultimately showing this is the right way to do it. This is what being Autobots are about. I think she really shined the most out of like all the characters.
I think it was interesting because Jetfire in a lot of ways was sort of the MVP of season 1.
Yep.
And he definitely took a big step back in this one. I would say that, yeah, in terms of characters on Cybertron, Alita 1 on the Autobot side definitely had a much bigger to-do. And Bumblebee, clearly stepping into that Autobot role and everything like that. But shout out to, for as much as I may think that they could do Optimus Prime better, and I hope that they, sort of fix that in this possibly final chapter in Kingdom, is that Megatron is really, really good in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did him really well. His motivations. I love him talking. I could have done with more. I loved him talking to Ultra Magnus's decapitated Autobot head. That was friggin' unexpected and awesome and grotesque and all. Again, for TVY7,
that's what I'm saying. It was not appropriate. I really want to know more about the battle arena that he rose through the ranks of and became the champion of Cybertron. Like, that's not a story I'm really familiar with, and no, I don't know all the G1 stuff. But like, that looked cool. I want to see some like Maximus Megatron.
I like the flashback stuff that we got of that too. Again, we got to see a Quintesson in this, although no Sharkticons, which disappointed me. But can't win them all. I really appreciated, again, just some of the lines that they put in it, like Megatron saying "I still function," which is directly from the animated movie. And also directly, not directly, but I think heavily inspired from the original cartoon, is that sort of harvesting Decepticons for their spark now to fuel the Nemesis project. But there was an episode that I remember vividly of Megatron essentially taking all of the powers of his fellow Decepticons so he could beat Optimus Prime in a duel. Like, he was like on some Decepticon steroids. So that was sort of the vibes I was getting from when he was harvesting the sparks. And that, yeah, I think Megatron was the MVP this season. Him going to that Sector 12 and meeting with all of his Decepticon, underlings, and how loyal they were to him and everything. And then him just shutting them down when they're right across from him was brutal.
I did like getting to see Decepticons as a functioning society and not just like the hardcore military aspect of it, but where it's actually like them looking up to their leader and being awe-inspired, and him being kind of like a gracious leader for the people, and he was like a champion again. I thought it added a little more depth to the normal Decepticon than them being more or less, parallel to just pure evil.
Yeah.
Like,
it was cool to me to see the matrix of leadership sort of have more roles than just being opened up to defeat Unicron as well. So I liked that. And we got the golden disc, which of course you remember from Beast Wars and everything like that. I don't know. It's a lot of fun. The show, I think they've done it really well. And Shockwave, like you said, really also sort of stepped out of the shadows, even though using that cloaking device of his, and really had a sort of a strong sort of run in this series. What do you want to see in the next season, Mark?
Well, very excited to see Beast Wars, of course. God, I don't know who I want to see. I really hope we get like a Waspinator, actually.
Yeah.
I would really like to see Waspinator and Starscream cross paths in this. The Rat Pack would be super sweet. Rat Trap would be super sweet as well. Rhinox is nice and steady. But I don't know.
I would like to see Dinobot save the day for the Autobots. That's what I would like to see. I mean, you'll never be able to fully duplicate Code Hero from Beast Wars, but I hope he gets a really cool moment in the next season. I think they will. I think at this point in time amongst Transformers fans, Dinobot holds a really, really special place, and I think the creators of this show know that, as just evidenced by, again, all of the Easter eggs that they included for us OG fans. It really shows that they know what they're doing with this series. So I'm very excited for the next season, and I look forward to talking about it with you when it comes out in May, Marco. So get ready for that. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we're going to play Nerdgasm or No-gasm on the Best Damn Nerd Show.
Hey everyone, Chris Seglia here, CEO of the Tenno Media Network. I would like to say thank you for checking out one of our podcasts, but we need your help. You can support Tenno in a multitude of ways. By going to our website and checking out our latest podcasts, by buying some sweet merch, joining our Discord, or getting early and exclusive access to all content via our Patreon. Your support means the world to us, and you can find everything on our website, www.ten-o.gg. That's ten-o.gg. Thank you again, and now, back to the show.
It's me, Iron Nerd Min-Maxer, Hanzo Gonzo, inviting you into the Tenno Media Arena to see whose nerdiness will reign we're gonna get sued if you will triumph a lotly. Come check out all the battles on the Tenno Media Network Patreon, or you can just skip to the parts where Steve physically breaks something for no reason. See you there.
Welcome back to the Best Damn Nerd Show. James Kincaid, Mark Schrex, and Chris Davis here with you. We are still waiting on the arrival of one more. Stay tuned on that. But for those of us that are here, we're going to bring back the favorite show, the little mini game that we do here on the Best Damn Nerd Show. It's a buy or sell segment. It's Nerdgasm or No-gasm, everybody. We got some great things to Nerdgasm or maybe not.
Am I winning
over here
on this segment? Are we keeping track?
It's kind of like Who's Line. Points don't matter. So,
I
want points.
Discord,
Mark, I just gave
let
you
me
5
know
points.
if I'm winning.
Yeah.
I'll add
Chris.
the around the horn sound effect as well to this. But welcome back. We're going to be doing Nerdgasm or No-gasm. It's a buy or sell. And the first thing that we're doing here is the headline, Captain America eyes return to the MCU as Chris Evans nears deal to reprise role in future Marvel product. Now, noting in this story, it's unlikely that it would be another Captain America movie, but more along the lines of what Iron Man did in Civil War or Spider-Man Homecoming, which was atrocious, and so forth. But Nerdgasm or No-gasm to Chris Evans reprising his role. Marco, is this news to you?
I thought he was out. This is news to me. I thought it was out for sure. I was told he was gone, so I'm perplexed. I don't even know how they're going to do it, unless they do like something like a Wonder Woman 1984 and go back in time, and he's there.
No, Wonder Woman rips off Captain America. Captain America doesn't rip off Wonder Woman, so don't get it twisted.
Someone's got to check the receipts, but that's cool. I'd take him. I'd take that guy.
Nerdgasm or No-gasm? Call the question.
Yeah, I'll give it a Nerdgasm.
He loses. He forgot the name of the game.
Well, I misspoke when I called it a game, more of a mini game or a show within a show here. It's a segment, all right? Just go along with it, Davis. Nerdgasm or No-gasm to Chris Evans reprising his role.
It's a Nerdgasm. Because, it was a hard one.
Yeah, that's gross, dude.
Captain America. You gotta love Chris Evans, Captain America. He's done a great job on the role. He's just kind of nailed it. And I'm not a big Captain America guy. You know that, James. But
not a big America guy in general.
Yeah, a lot of conspiracy theories that go against our nation. I'd say great nation, but with the theories out there.
All right, moving along.
But yeah, no, I'll take Chris Evans any day of the week. So love it.
I love Captain America, the character. I love Chris
That's
Evans.
News to me.
Bullshit. And I love those Captain America movies so very much, including the first Avenger, which Davis irrationally hates upon.
What?
But
that's news to me too.
This is a No-gasm from me. And Chris Evans has done a fantastic job, but he got the perfect send-off in Endgame. They had a perfect point for him to sort of just walk away. They ended his character. It was beautiful. It was very emotional, as people that watched Endgame with me can attest to. Him dancing with Peggy at the end and everything like that. It was him handing the shield to Falcon. It was perfect. It was well done. It was well earned. Everything was in its proper place, even right down to just the how he interacted with Bucky there at the end. I was so thrilled and happy with how they put a sort of endpoint on the character in this MCU. And it's not that I didn't expect him to come back eventually, but they haven't even, because of the pandemic, I know, and everything like that, but we've barely batted an eyelash, and it's all right, well, we're gonna bring him back. This is bad.
They're looking
like,
at
not
phase
good.
2. They're looking at phase 2 and Marvel being like, "Oh wow, we're already scratching the bottom of the barrel here with WandaVision. So maybe we need to bring Captain America back."
It's just, to me, it's a no-gasm at the start for me.
You don't want him around when they bring in the X-Men?
I don't need him to be. I also don't need them to bring in the X-Men. Or rather, let me say this: I don't need the X-Men to interact with the Avengers right away. Let them be the X-Men, do their own thing.
Yeah, but eventually it's gonna happen because they're gonna run out of stuff. And so if they have to bring Captain America back, who do you want in that role?
Of course I want Chris Evans. And again, I just said that I expected that eventually this is a card that they would have to play.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're doing it this soon is a no-gasm for me. To me, it undermines the great emotional send-off that we got in Endgame. You know?
It's not undermining shit because he's not in anything yet. It's discussions for future down the road.
It's probably at least 3 years out.
They're letting they let the cat out of the bag too early then. Don't like it. No, sir, I don't like it. All right. Deadpool will be an MCU movie and rated R. Nerdgasm or no? Deadpool 3, I should say, if I didn't make that clear. Deadpool 3 will be officially in the MCU and maintain an R rating. Nerdgasm or no-gasm, Davis?
If I knew how to break the fourth wall better right now, I'd be talking to our audience, showing them my nerdgasm.
It's a podcast.
Right, we're already in the fourth wall. We're already discussing it with them, so you know. It's a nerdgasm. It's an obvious nerdgasm. Who doesn't love Deadpool? And he's going to be in the MCU. I just love that everything's coming together finally. That Sony got their hands off all these properties. I can maybe in 15 years or so, when it's died down a bit, maybe eventually get a good Dark Phoenix movie.
No.
After they've done everything else.
MCU needs to flip the script.
Yeah.
MCU needs to flip the script and go with what like DC did really well, which is animated. Go animated. Give me a great animated Dark Phoenix saga.
I bet they'll do that.
They did.
Actually, but
it might already exist as far as I know. But I don't. I mean, X-Men the animated series was great. You're right, Mark. That's true. But nerdgasm or no-gasm for Deadpool 3, Mark, and it being in the MCU and all that crap.
I'll give it a nerdgasm. Why not? I mean, it doesn't like.
Is it news to you though?
It doesn't like.
Mark, if you have to hesitate, then it's a no-gasm.
Well, I mean, I'm not mad at it. You know, I'm not going to send it back. I'll enjoy it. It's just like, I don't know. I always kind of felt like it was.
Yeah. You know what? 5 more points to Mark.
In it. Yeah. I'm on top.
Good point, Mark. I like it. Yep, Mark in the pole position. I'll give this just kind of just a sort of roll it out there nerdgasm. Sure. I think it behooves MCU more than it behooves Deadpool.
It was more of a maintenance level of nerdgasm, you know.
I just hope that the people that wrote Deadpool 1 and 2 can sort of show the MCU writers how it's done in terms of letting your audience feel emotion without having to punctuate everything in the same scene with a stupid joke, because Deadpool and Deadpool 2 in particular did that marvelously well. So yeah, but I'll give it a whatever nerdgasm. All right, let's move away from the MCU. But let's keep it with the sort of on-screen ventures. However, on the smaller screen, and we're going to go to theonering.net for this exclusive show synopsis for Amazon's Lord of the Rings series. It reads, Amazon Studios' forthcoming series brings to screens for the very first time the heroic legends of the fabled Second Age of Middle-earth's history. This epic drama is set thousands of years before the events of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, and will take viewers back to an era in which great powers were forged, kingdoms rose to glory and fell to ruin, unlikely heroes were tested, hope hung by the finest of threads, and the greatest villain that ever flowed from Tolkien's pen threatened to cover all the world in darkness. Beginning in a time of relative peace, the series follows an ensemble cast of characters, both familiar and new, as they confront the long-feared reemergence of evil to Middle-earth. From the darkest depths of the Misty Mountains, to the majestic forests of the elf capital of Lindon, to the breathtaking island kingdom of Numenor, to the furthest reaches of the map, these kingdoms and characters will carve out legacies that live on long after they are gone. That is the official show synopsis for this Amazon Lord of the Rings series. Based on what you've heard, nerdgasm or no-gasm? We'll start with the leader, Mark.
I was confused. Are there rings in this still?
I bet you, yes, Mark, there will be rings still.
All right, then give it a nerdgasm.
Even the creation.
You know what? Actually, for that reaction, Mark, I'm docking you 3 points. So -3.
It might even be the creation of the rings.
Where's the rings? Where's the rings?
Where's Spider-Man?
I don't know. It sounds all right. It makes me want to watch more of the Shannara Chronicles on MTV, though.
Shannara?
Yeah.
Please pronounce that again.
Shannara Chronicles on the MTV with Manu Bene. That was a good
Shauna
show.
Ross sounds like an 80s banger that was not in Wonder Woman 1984. But you're saying nerdgasm to this, Mark?
Yeah, sure. If there's rings, I'm in. Nerdgasm.
I was thinking about this today, and that I have sort of a strong affinity. I think the first time that I saw the Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring trailer, Mark, I think I was at your house the first time I ever saw it. And so I sort of associate the cinematic Lord of the Rings universe and the introduction to that with one Mark Truex. So are you a big Lord of the Rings guy? I mean, or are you just kind of meh?
I enjoy it, but I'm not gaga over it, you know? Like, they're definitely enjoyable, and they're probably worth a rewatch sometime in the next 5 years. For sure.
They're streaming on HBO Max.
Yeah. I know. I got all the extendeds too. I got all the extended versions. Make a whole day of it. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. It's very enjoyable. But yeah, I never got really into a lot of the reading or any cosplay on it, and any of the cool trinkets surrounding it and toys and none of that. It never really like got me there.
Davis, nerdgasm or no-gasm?
This is a haphazardly nerdgasm for me.
Why?
We love the original trilogy, right? And then we got the Hobbit series, and
those were awful.
Have been very off put since then.
Those were awful.
I haven't want to go back to that universe since, and I don't know if I will. I want to, because it does sound fantastical. It sounds like there's a lot more creatures will probably be abound in this series, and we'll get some more story in it. But yeah, The Hobbit just really left a bad taste in my mouth. So it's tough to.
Did you finish The Hobbit?
The movies?
Did you finish it? Yeah.
No.
Me neither. Couldn't do it.
It was so hard to get through. It was that bad.
Of Smog was atrocious.
Desolation of Night.
The Hobbit movies were bad, but to me, they're just instantly forgettable and easily ignored. Yeah. So they did not sully my feeling on the Lord of the Rings film franchise. And I mean, I love the Tolkien source material so very much. And so this is getting a cautious nerdgasm for me. And ordinarily it would be a full-throated, hearty, rah-rah nerdgasm, the likes of which, Theoden would blow in his horn before, mustering the Rohirrim. But it's because this is a prequel that I am cautious.
Yeah.
And, if they're drawing from the Silmarillion, that's great, and heavily, sort of going with that and working with the Tolkien estate to make this sort of in line with that. I think there is a lot of room in the Tolkien sort of playground or sandbox to move around in and everything like that. But when I read in this synopsis, it follows an ensemble cast of characters, both familiar and new, I get a little trepidatious because, like, don't give me anything familiar other than, you know, the big bads and everything like that. I mean, maybe we see Elrond or something. I don't, but I don't want you to sort of rely on the applause moments like the Star Wars prequels did or the sequels did. Don't give me what's already established and then change it to suit your own devices for this new prequel show. Follow a new set of characters. There's plenty of room within this to sort of have, you know, the references to, you know, other characters in this world. Do it Mando style, you know, with minus the Luke. You know, Mando existed within the Star Wars universe and you got references and stuff, but for a large part of it, you know, you didn't have to run into all these familiar faces. And yes, I know Boba Fett showed up and all that stuff too. Ignore that. Season 1. Ignore
the major part of one whole season.
Season 1 style. Ignore that. But you know what I mean. Go for the aesthetic. Go for the vibe. Stick with the source material as best you can. I love the Lord of the Rings world, though. So I am excited for this, and it gets a nerdgasm. The fact that it's a prequel and those oftentimes don't turn out so good has me a little bit worried.
I feel like you probably do with a lot of Star Wars stuff because you hate most of Star Wars, just like I hate most Lord of the Rings.
You don't like the Hobbit movies. Nobody does.
No, and then
that's the great thing about the Lord of the Rings fan base is that they all rallied around how much the Hobbit movies stink, and they're in the ash heap of history.
That is very universal.
There's a prequel Ken. There isn't a Hobbit loving Ken out there. You know, there's no sort of undercurrent of these supporters really that I've seen. It's all just Peter Jackson. He took the money and ran with it.
Yeah, well, I paid him. I started on the novels in high school because I was in a fantasy satire class and had to read them for school. So that was already strike one that it was homework. So that was not gonna do the novels any help for me. But
Wait, so do you just like the movies and not like the books?
I really hate the books. I can't stand the writing.
What?
I really hate his style. It was so hard to get through.
He's world building. Everything that fantasy stands upon is from those books.
Not well.
Ugh.
Just didn't roll through the mind very well, you know? So I loved a bunch of the video games though. So I'm about 50-50 on Lord of the Rings. So
man, I just really don't like the books. Okay. That's all right.
Awful.
Professor
Boring.
Chris Davis.
Yeah, I'm laying some knowledge down for you.
Not very scholarly of you, but I do firmly stand by the movies as well, and that they stand the test of time. What just a great trilogy of films that they were, and really captured the spirit of those fantastic books. So hopefully this Amazon show is great too, because I am ready to go back to the world of Tolkien. I completely have put the Hobbit movies out of my mind. I'm ready to go back, and I think it'd be a nice reprieve from some of the sci-fi and fantasy that we've been getting in superhero stuff. I'm ready for more Tolkien. So it's a cautious nerdgasm for me, with the caution sign being the prequels, man. They still scarred me. So anyway, we got a couple more things to get here. There is a open world Star Wars game that is being developed. That sounds awesome. I'm going to start things off here and say nerdgasm from me. That sounds very, very cool. I look forward to playing that, a lot. So that's a big time Star Wars nerdgasm for me, and I think it would be very, very successful. Marco, what say you?
Give that big old nerdgasm for sure.
It's not coming out on Sega though.
I know. I'll have to upgrade at some point, but one of my favorite Star Wars games and games of all time is definitely KOTOR, and that was almost open worldy, almost, pretty much, but put it on an even more massive scale and get to interact with other peeps. It sounds cool. Nerdgasm.
Yeah. But by the way, plus 3 points to Mark, minus 10 points to Davis for saying he didn't like the Lord of the Rings books. So, yeah,
this is stacked against me.
Stomping all over you. You're trash.
You're crushing them, man.
Because I have a different opinion than James.
Keep arguing. Minus 5 more. Davis, nerdgasm or no-gasm?
It's a That's a lightsaber going up because it's a nerdgasm. The biggest point of this.
It's a buy or sell, people.
And the biggest point of this is not that of what the game is. It's that it's going back to LucasArts Studios. All of Star Wars games are going back to LucasArts. EA is done. That is the bigger point here. And so we're back to LucasArts. It's back in the right hands. It's back in the studios that made the great games. The fact that it's an open world Star Wars game in their hands, let's go. I'm all aboard. That's great news. Bye-bye, EA.
That's the best answer. All nerdgasm or no-gasm tonight. So plus 10 points to Davis there. That's great.
Catch up.
It's over.
You're still trailing. You're still trailing by a ton.
Negative.
That was a great.
That's
answer.
called research,
right.
Mark.
That was tremendous stuff. That might be the promo for this week's show, Davis. Very, very well done. You have a nerdgasm or no-gasm for us, Mark. Something that's news to me that you would like to share with us before we go to break.
Well, I've been enraptured in a story that's been breaking news, and I really didn't think I had my finger on the pulse. Not me. Everything's news to me. But one Armie Hammer, one handsome Hollywood A-lister, Armie Hammer, is in quite a scandal because apparently he's admitted he is 100% cannibal to some louse in private DMs.
What?
Yeah. I don't know if I believe it.
You're saying he's admitted to this?
Well, supposedly on the internet, a bunch of his private DMs got leaked of him like hounding like ex-lovers and stuff, saying, "Oh my God, it just made me so hard and it makes me confused as to why. Is it even possible? So hard? Thinking of holding your heart in my hand and controlling when it beats? I'm 100% a cannibal. I want to eat you. Fuck, that's scary to admit."
God. I just look at this headline. The first thing that pops up is Armie Hammer's ex, Courtney something. I think she plays for the Orlando Magic. He wanted to barbecue and eat me.
Yeah, there's all these reports of him like licking their like cuts on their hands and like being asked to be fed blood.
So Mark's laid it out. So I now will call the question: Armie Hammer a cannibal? Nerdgasm or no-gasm? Davis?
You gotta love a good old cannibal story. It's just like Ravenous, but today. So, nerdgasm.
Minus 50 points for you bringing up Ravenous. Minus 50 points for you bringing up Ravenous.
Anytime I can. It's going in.
Marco, your story, nerdgasm or no-gasm?
Man, I gotta say, I'm nerdgasming on the story, but I am still in support of Armie Hammer until I see veritable proof.
I'm in support of him either way.
This poor A-lister's life.
I love
kids.
Armie Hammer.
He was the Lone Ranger.
And that was an underrated movie. Very fun movie. I like Stuff.
Could probably fall in our last segment of this show.
I like Stuff. The Lone Ranger was great, and I'm nerdgasming for Armie Hammer, cannibal or not. I think what a great story, Mark. Plus 100 points for finding that story and bringing it to this show, because otherwise I wouldn't have known about it. So kudos to you, sir. Big Armie Hammer cannibalistic nerdgasm.
Do I get to counter a story to get points for myself?
You can try.
Does it involve eating human flesh?
We're running a little long here, so make it good.
Okay, just so you know, there was a teaser trailer for a new Indiana Jones game, James.
Oh, I did see that.
Indy Jones.
With cannibals?
So,
yeah, that's
I am just, pandering to the indie crowd over here. So.
Kalima! He held a beating heart in his hand.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. You know what? Great point, Mark. Plus 25 more points to you. And on that note, we're going to take a break. On the other side, we will be talking about failures to launch and also our latest bracket, born of an idea from a listener in the Discord. That's bestdamnnerdshow.com/Discord. On the other side, the Best Damn Nerd Show.
Hey guys, it's the loquacious anime and manga lover Jahns here. Now I have watched a lot of anime and I've read an abundance of manga, so you would think that I have a pretty interesting opinion on the culture. From classics like Golden Boy and Ghost in the Shell to masterpieces such as Psychopaths and Gangst. Come and join me as I talk about the world of anime and manga, which has had a huge impact on my life. And who knows, whatever I talk about and recommend to you guys could become one of your favorite series.
Ammo with Jammers.
It's the microphone alchemist Bimbo Jimbo here, and when I'm not verbally super kicking Last Jedi fans on the Best Damn Nerd Show, or fantasy casting The Rock in another movie on the DLC, well, that's when I actually get to talk about wrestling. That's right, come join me in the Wrestling War Room, where I take my mic to the mat and launch my hot takes about the Wednesday Night War between AEW and NXT. The Wrestling War Room, which side are you on?
What up, nerds? Lore Master Tim here. We're excited to be delivering your weekly fix of nerd culture, but it's not enough. We need your life force to sustain us. So use those hot little hands to subscribe, rate, and review us on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or however you take your medicine. One of our favorite pastimes on the BDNS is reading fan mail on air. So sing us a song of hatred or love, and you may just hear your beautiful words being featured on an episode. That's why it's important, nay, essential to rate and review us. Until then, as always, nerds, say it loud, say it proud.
Welcome back to the Best Damn Nerd Show. James Kincaid, Chris Davis are in with you, and tagging in for Mark Truex is Hall of Fame cyber athlete and agent of the Kirin Tour, Jonathan Craig joins the program.
What is cracking, my fellow nerds?
Did you stop for a muffin?
I did, yeah. That's why I'm late. I had to get a bagel.
Somewhere Jeff Budd is saying, I understood that reference.
I was just going to say, I get that reference. I remember you coming to the studio late with muffins all the time.
Well, tell the people who don't know the reference why you... You used to give me such a hard time, dude, but I was never late for the broadcast.
You would cut it very, very close, my friend. So, taking us back to San Francisco State University, which is where the genesis of this program sprung from the primordial soup of what other radio shows they were putting out there. John had a proclivity. I'm going to give the whole backstory. One, even if we're running late, you never shorten your shower. Not once. And John loves it. And you know what? And God bless you for it. Because there's nothing like a really long, relaxing shower. But if we're running late...
Especially up there where it's cold, dude.
It's true. But if we're running late, because we played Magic the Gathering late into the evening at Jeff's house, and we need to roll out, sometimes we'd be cutting a little bit close to the studio in that way. But on other days, John would pop somewhere on the quad to get a muffin or a bagel, and would often cut it very, very close, rolling into the studio as I'm giving an welcome.
No. That's an exaggeration. It was never cut that close. It would be as close as like maybe 2 or 3 minutes to air. And granted, we maybe could have done a little bit more prep time in that time.
Prep time was on the couches.
Prep time was muffin time.
James, I don't think you respect what I was going through at that time. Like, I had just been introduced to coffee.
That's true. You got really into it. Needed it.
Yeah. So like that year, like I had just started drinking coffee, and I was going to like that Cafe Rosso, that like little cart where you could get a coffee and a muffin for like $2.
Dude, I got their Thai peanut chicken for years.
Yeah. I wonder if that place is still there.
It is.
I still stand by this day. They have like the best coffee.
I've guest spoken. I've been a guest speaker at a few classes there, and I've done some other production work.
You weren't actually invited. You were just like outside of Cafe Rosso, just like talking to kids. Like, do you want to hear about my broadcasting career?
I adjusted my Bumble sliders accordingly, and it was just a feeding frenzy.
You're like, I studied TV here once. They're like, what's TV?
Yeah, what's TV?
Are you talking about TikTok?
What's radio? So
yeah.
Here, read my pamphlets, handing out wrestling cards.
Hey, you guys remember the Best Damn Nerd Show? Anyway,
we won an award. No big deal.
Yeah, we won a Becky. Just don't ask me where that award is. Anyway, so we've given people the inside baseball now, too much on that, but we are going to be talking about failures to launch. This was an idea of yours, John, when we were just, we were in the writer's room eating some muffins, drinking some coffee, and the idea that with the failure of Cyberpunk,
taking some long showers.
Yeah. Hey, that's where the best ideas come from.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I understand it better now.
LA keeps on having droughts.
That's junk science.
Yes, that is true.
But with the failure of Cyberpunk 2077, we want to talk about maybe some other games, movies, products that just sort of were just a big old fail. And before we get into things other than Cyberpunk, well, actually, John, first, why did this come to your mind to do?
I mean, I was watching Davis play Cyberpunk, and I know a couple of the guys who've gotten it and have had. Specifically, I know one guy who got it on PS5, and he's had so many issues with the game crashing that he just quit. He refuses to play it, and I was like, they're gonna patch it at some point. He's like, I don't think I can go back, because he would make a bunch of progress, and then the game would crash, and he would lose that progress. And he's like, I can't play this mission for the 4th time
again.
I can't do it. I'm like, dude, I understand, but. Yeah, I mean, the game has. I haven't picked it up. I'm the type of person who kind of waits for a lot of games, unless it's a WoW expansion. I just wait, and then once it goes on sale and it's been critically acclaimed, I'll pick it up. And Cyberpunk is one that I think I'll just never pick up because it's been received so poorly.
Sounds like a real shit bomb. Davis,
might be one of those PS4 plus free games of the month.
Totally.
What Davis? What was your experience with Cyberpunk like?
It's later on, as I got a few more hours into the game, I started getting more crashes like your friend did, John.
And you're playing on PS4.
Yeah,
because you're broke.
Yeah, I like the old timey consoles.
The old timey retro.
Yeah, it's really hinder on the graphics.
That's surprising that it's crashing so much on PS4 too.
Most of the problems that they're saying are on the older consoles because they've had to convert it, and it's just not going well. And at first it was just a few visual things here and there, like maybe the clothes aren't covering your penis or something like that, so you can just see it flopping around, or just like things on the street that just fly through buildings, or just certain random stuff that happen that you're like, that should probably only happen on a Dreamcast or something like that.
Right.
And then as the game kind of went on, and I was just avoiding paying too much attention to that stuff because I was just trying to enjoy it, then I started getting the crashes, and that's it's so frustrating. So I stopped playing as well. I'm going to try it after the big February patch that they said is going to drop, because there's supposed to be a big one this month and a big one next month, and then I'll give it another shot probably.
Yeah, it's kind of shitty too because they released the game, but it's made for, because it's been in development so long, like it's made for last gen consoles,
right?
So it's made for PS4 and Xbox. What is it, One X? I don't even know. But it like, it doesn't look that great on those consoles. And part of the way that they've marketed this game is that it looks fucking amazing, especially with like NVIDIA RTX and ray tracing and all that other stuff. So like you see all these renders that are supposed to be in-game gameplay, and you're like, dude, this game looks amazing. And then you boot it up on a PS4 or even like a PS5, and it looks like absolute shit. And the only people who are really having like an awesome experience with how the game looks and feels are people who are playing on like god tier computers that most people don't have access to. So it's kind of a bummer, dude.
It is a bummer. I mean, this game was hyped for a very long time, and they did a great job marketing it, got everybody ready to go. And
I think, it's especially disappointing too, because they kept pushing it, and so you're like, all right, what did they push it like over a year, right?
Oh yeah.
And you want to give them the benefit of the doubt, like, because they keep saying we're going to push it, and so that we can polish it, we can make this game better and better and better. But if you push a game a year, like this game was supposed to come out a full year ago, and this is the state that it's in after a whole nother year with it. That's incredibly disappointing. Like, what did you guys? What was the game a year ago that this is what you guys put out? And it's not like a games as a service type of game. Like once you beat it, like you're kind of done. It's not like a game that has like an end game that you're gonna play for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, like a lot of other games do. So, like, if they're saying that they're gonna release like a next gen patch later in the year, but like by that point, who cares? Like everyone's played your game. If they were gonna play it, no one cares anymore. Like how many people are really gonna revisit this game when when that patch comes out.
Man, do you think Keanu Reeves is like pissed off about this?
No, I don't think he cares at all. Because
everything he's touched lately, well, other than Bill and Ted 3, is turned to gold. And
it's hard to say because he had like some really great moments when he like came out on stage and stuff. But yeah, like,
I mean, nobody blames him for it though. Yeah,
he's just had some shit. He's had some shitty movies though too. So
sure, but I mean, but he has.
Movies.
But in the last couple of years, he has become an internet darling. You know, sort of one of those paragons. And now this game, and he's, was such a focal point of the marketing for it and everything like that.
I think it's probably disappointing to him for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I wonder if it makes him not want to do other games.
I think I would imagine
he's not super familiar with the process. So like his team isn't going to be able to like sift through a bunch of game offers and be like, this is the one that's going to look good. Because this is also like from a good publisher too. That's the crazy thing. Like you wouldn't expect this shitty launch quality from such a good publisher, but it's so bad that PlayStation removed it from the store.
Yeah,
and then
refunds are being offered.
Refunds were being offered, and then a week later, a class action lawsuit was filed against the publisher.
Oh, jeez, I didn't hear about that. Yeah, I mean, they must be surrounded by nothing but yes men there right now. If they thought it was going to be released a year ago, they're like, okay, yeah, it could be ready. No, we need to push it back some. Like nobody is telling them.
We need to push it back a year.
Yeah, nobody's telling them the truth of how far they need to push it back, and they're just like they're just trying to appease people.
Yeah. Well, like some of the other games that we'll get to on our list, it's like sometimes you can be too ambitious, and I feel like that's a big problem with like sci-fi games specifically, because they're trying to do so much and be like so revolutionary that it's like honestly, some of the best games that any of us have played, they just revolutionize like one feature.
Yeah, they might have tried to do too much with it. Honestly, even without seeing any glitches, when I watched Davis play through it on Twitch, I wasn't that impressed. I didn't think it didn't look like that much of a movement forward from other similarly styled games that I've seen.
I think if you see the game on a computer that can do like 4K and ray tracing, although I don't even know if you can run this game 4K ray tracing, but like ray tracing where it's doing like really good depth of field on camera lenses and really cool lighting effects, then I think the game is probably pretty spectacular looking. But I don't think most people's computers could handle that. So I think it's just like they made a bad game for the hardware that's out right now, and it just is what it is. Like this will be on the list of like worst launches ever.
Totally. So let's get to it. What are some of the other sort of your failures to launch? And on my list, I've got a couple that just straight up were like Cyberpunk, just a complete bomb at the start. And then I've got one in particular on my list that's more just felt unfinished and sort of the what could have been with the game. But Davis, I know you've got a pretty extensive list, so let's start with you. Throw out one or two that you want to talk about.
I mean, the first one when we brought this topic up that came to mind was a very recent game, one that was hyped up just as much as Cyberpunk, I feel like, and
I'm trying to guess what you're gonna say,
and promised a lot. I mean, promised a lot of not only graphics, what it could do, but just the size of it and just the possibilities of all the universes you could go to. And you should now know it.
You
John.
spoiled it.
Yeah, I had to give you that final hint there because No Man's Sky came out and bombed. It was nothing even close to what they promised. It didn't look great. You couldn't do a ton. It was very repetitive, and nobody even really knew what you were supposed to do in the game. There was nothing. There was nothing. And I guess since I've heard, I haven't even tried to go back to it. It was something that I was going to buy on release day, and then I just heard so many bad things. I luckily stayed away from it, but I guess now they've kind of come through on some of those promises. I don't know how many.
My brother loves that game, and he showed me a little bit of it when I last was visiting. It looks awesome, and I totally missed the hype behind that game anyway. So to me, it's like, oh, look at this awesome game that I had never even heard of. What sort of little indie venture is this? So it looked good to me. So you might want to check that one out again. Just as I'll probably in a year or two check out Cyberpunk 2077. Be like,
exactly.
Game's great.
Just miss me with the bullshit. I'll come into the game when like the DLC is out and everything's been fixed.
John, what about you?
No, that's the story of No Man's Sky, right? Like they were hyping it up as like procedurally generated, like infinite universes and worlds that you can explore. And then people got the game and they started exploring, and then they got to different, planets, and they're like, "There's literally nothing for me to do here." So you can have an infinite world, but if there's nothing to do, it's just
that's just like real life, dude. There's nothing else out there, so get used to it.
And how it generated was actually not that fantastic. You saw the same shit a ton, and it was just
that's the dirty little secret to procedurally generated, right? There's like just different like tile sets that just multiply out, and then it ends up feeling very repetitive once you figure out what those are. But
here's the thing, I didn't know. I didn't need much more than what Mass Effect gave me in terms of worlds that I could explore.
Right.
I love doing it, even though most of them were the same. I still love doing it, but I didn't need much more than that. So, sometimes, more isn't always the answer.
Yeah.
To these.
Well, speaking of Mass Effect, James.
Yeah.
That was the next game on my list. Andromeda.
Okay.
Was
Andromeda? Andromeda?
Andromeda. Thank you.
You know what? I know this isn't Nerdgasm. I know this isn't Nerdgasm or Nogasm anymore, but minus 50 points to the next one to you, Davis.
You say, tomato, I say tomato. It's fine. No, but that game was hyped up
that's
too.
actually the canon pronunciation.
You say tomato. Davis says tomato.
Tomato.
That game was hyped up too from a franchise that did really well and just flopped. I mean, I don't even know I can't even speak on the quality, quite honest with you, but it just flopped.
I was aware.
It just didn't do well.
I was aware that it existed sort of in the peripheral, and I completely forgot about it moving forward though. Like I remember it. I don't even know what it's about. I thought it was set in the Mass Effect universe and had nothing to do with the rest of the Mass Effect games. I vaguely remember reading that, so I didn't look into it any further because it didn't interest me. I was like, well, I like Shepard and that stuff. So I don't even really know what was going on in Andromeda. So
dude, it's the sci-fi games that have such an issue though.
It is.
Give us one from your list, John.
Well, I was gonna mention No Man's Sky as well because it's a good one to mention, but let me pull it up here. Well, I'm gonna go with a classic. I'm gonna go with Duke Nukem Forever, which was which I was super excited for and hit like right when when I was starting college. But like I had fond memories of being like a teenager and preteen and playing like the old Duke Nukem games with my cousins, even though I wasn't supposed to. So I was excited for it, but it was another one of those games that like was in development for so long that by the time it came out, the technology was old and the game looked like shit. And it makes you realize like how much of a delicate balance there is to timing games. Like you want your game to be advanced enough that it moves the needle, but you don't want it to be too advanced that it runs like shit on everyone's hardware. But you need to release it quickly so you don't miss your window. But then if you release it too quickly, then it's not finished and then it's received poorly. So you kind of like want it to be a little low on features, and like you don't want it to be too full. I think games like No Man's Sky which over time you can add the features, those are the ones that benefit the most, I think. Yeah,
it is sort of you're totally hitting the nail on the head with that. It is sort of this really difficult balance sometimes on the when Sega Genesis really mastered that. They caught Nintendo in between consoles and they took up some of the market value for a little bit there. Yep. I got one that Davis might be able to guess. And you know what? Maybe it wasn't as hyped as No Man's Sky, but then again, I didn't know about any hype with No Man's Sky. So, so I guess to each their own. This game, however, was very hyped in my heart, and with played the demo at Comic-Con. Was the spiritual successor to one of my all-time favorite games, and perhaps the definitive horror survival game Until Dawn. But Man of Medan, man, what a piece of shit. That game was such a disappointment. And the only redeeming quality about it was that I got to play it online with Davis. But Davis, come on, that game sucked, dude. That stunk. It was a stinker.
Man, what a mistake. I mean, you and I had fun playing together, and that was a fun experience. But even that diminished once we figured out that we needed to proceed, how we needed to communicate.
Yeah, it's a one-trick pony.
Yeah, so it didn't take long, and the story
it was
itself
so short.
Yeah. The story itself was not great.
Insanely short. Like, the playthrough of it couldn't be more than a few hours.
It's so niche, though. I mean, how many people played in these series? It definitely failed in comparison.
Was it
to
it was a full price game that you could finish in 3 hours?
Dude, not only a full price game, I bought like the deluxe edition or whatever that supposedly had more features or like Until Dawn.
You got fleeced.
I did, dude. I got fucking screwed.
They cleaned you out.
I got fucking screwed, bro.
You called them for a refund.
First of all,
it's not even a real company.
I should have known. Because I broke the demo at Comic-Con. Because I went back to look for more lore, and I went back like they didn't expect the player character to double back, and it just crashed the game. So I should have known that there was an issue with that. But Until Dawn at least had 11 chapters or 10 chapters or something like that. Each one's playtime probably 40 minutes to an hour. Something like that for most of them, especially if you're going for all the unlockables and really immersing yourself in the world like I do. But Man of Medan, that's like a 4-hour game.
Jesus, this is like a game that like Max Lord would put out if he was a game developer.
Seriously, great reference. Yeah, you know what? I'm a forgiving man, so I will play the next one that's out. I forget the name of it right now.
Oh my god, you're such a simp. Jesus Christ, dude.
Davis,
why would you play it? Why would you play it? Like
because Until Dawn was that good, John. Like, oh my god. That game is one of the best.
That's the first fool me once, John. If it gets him again, then we need to start questioning him.
It's called Little Hope, Davis, and I hope we can play online together. And I have a lot of hope. I have a lot of hope that it will be better than Man of Medan.
I would love to, as long as you're the one purchasing it. So
yeah, I'll probably buy it more than once.
Yeah.
You got anything else on your list there, Davis?
I have an older one that probably ruined my efforts into getting into PC gaming when I was a kid. I had bought a new computer setup for this game, and it was probably around middle school, I believe. And my family didn't have a lot of money. I just updated graphics card to get it. It was a lot to me. And this game hyped up so much. It was from the creators of The Sims, SimCity, all that stuff, and just the amount of possibilities. And this is the theme of the night: the amount of possibilities that these companies say that these games can do, and the graphics of what they look like, it just never seemed to match up with how these games launch, and that's why they're so bad. And that game was Spore.
Oh yeah. I remember
if you guys ever played Spore, and it was a game where you like pretty much create a whole world of species and all this stuff, random generated stuff all over the place, and it was so basic. It was so simplistic, and it was just repetitive. It was nothing, and it was so disappointing. And I think after that, I was like, I'm not spending money on computer stuff anymore, and I'm sticking to
that was a turning point in Davis's life.
That's what did it for me. So
yeah, because before Davis was breaking controllers, he actually just broke the computer, and his parents weren't good with that. So it's like we got to switch to something else. So you can take out your aggression in a little bit more of an affordable way.
We did go through some keyboards, I will say. So a few
Lord.
Mises maybe too. I don't know.
Mises?
It's multiple mouse. How would you say that?
Mises.
Oh man. I'm
John,
looking at a list here.
Yeah.
I totally forgot to mention Fallout 76.
Yeah, that was that one.
That's a good one.
A lot of people hated that.
Well, I feel like that game, like, they didn't really. It came out during like the battle royale craze, and that's how they kind of marketed it. But that's not really what the game is. I don't think
it's not. It's open world, and
it's like a survival game.
Yeah, and it's not. It's not even that really. It's just
right.
And it was
and then they added like pay to win elements to it, right?
Yeah. And
that game
so buggy
pleased
and
nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm looking
man.
at recently WWE 2K20.
I was gonna bring it up.
Oh shit! Sorry.
No. That's perfect because now you brought it up, so people won't shit on me for bringing up a wrestling game. So you say me. No, that game well deserved. It tanked the entire WWE 2K franchise. So they're moving in another direction now. They released some weird sort of over the top arcade style one. But yeah, 2K20. I didn't want to believe all of the negative reviews I heard about it and everything like that. I was like, how bad could it be? They make usually the same game with some, minor improvements every year. It is titanically awful. They inexplicably changed the control systems to a not more user-friendly way. The story mode is bunk. Like it feels so much clunkier. Like every decision they made was bad. That they changed from the previous. It was.
It also had like a bunch of bugs and loading issues, like some of these other games that are on this list. But it's interesting that they made the controls more complex because the controls of that game are already too complex for what a wrestling game should be.
The previous iterations were fine. It's not as good as No Mercy or WCW versus NWO Revenge, but they were fine. But they. And at a certain point, if you play every year the 2K games, when the next one comes out, you already have sort of, the groundwork laid for how to play the game. Right. But you completely revamp the control system, and it's like things that for years now used to do one thing, don't do that anymore. It just was, I don't want to. The question is, I guess,
what do you want out of your controls for a wrestling game? Because like I harken back to like the best ones were on Nintendo 64.
Correct.
Where you would just like punch a guy in the chest enough to get his stamina down, and then you do some cool shit to him. The controls of those games were super, super simple. Yeah. But it seems like the wrestling, the WWE 2K games have gone in like the more simulation direction, where it's like you can really have strict command over your character and like make them do a lot of stuff.
Listen, they've added some cool things, like the fact that you can throw people through the barricade and do finishing moves through a table and all these kinds of different things are great. But they sort of have lost their way in terms of the fact that, the sort of replay value of it, though. Because if you're not playing with friends, like they got away from sort of the GM mode and a lot of the game modes that made the game, the earlier 2K versions a lot of fun. But yeah, 2K20 was just an absolute pile. But hopefully they sort of regroup and bring back another great wrestling game, because I would like to see it. God, 2K20 was so bad. John, do you have anything else you want to throw out there? Because I know Davis has movies and products on his list as well.
I was just thinking about like
I went down the rabbit hole, man.
I was reading this list, and some World of Warcraft expansions make it to the list. And while there have definitely been some that have been poorly received, I feel like they're not bad on launch. It's like over time that people realize how stinky they are. So like
there's been launch problems though, right? Like it servers down and things not being prepared.
Every time there's a launch, there's like server load issues for sure. But I mean, like in terms of the game coming out and then everyone realizing immediately that the expansion sucks
Oh,
hasn't
okay.
really happened. It's something that takes like a couple years. Like Battle for Azeroth is which was the last one, is noted as one of the worst. Warlords of Draenor, also known as one of the worst. But I think probably the worst time in the history of the game was like when Pandaria came out, because that's when some players quit.
I don't even play the game, and that's the one I was thinking of. I was like, I think it's Pandaria.
I mean, that's when I stopped. I didn't even play Warlords of Draenor, so I was like, this
Or
game is
as
fucking
Davis
stupid
says, Pandaria.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I honestly don't even think that they should have brought the Worgen in, but it is what it is.
I completely agree with you, John.
At least not to the Alliance, dude.
No,
Make
of
'em
course
horde,
not.
Make them horde,
Absolutely
or just
horde.
fucking kill them all. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
they
They're
should be
not
all. They
humans,
all
they're
should be
animals.
destroyed. Yeah, they're werewolves,
animals.
dude. They're cursed creatures. How is that alliance, dude?
Any animal that just starts inexplicably talking to me, like
Army Hammer might be a Worgen, actually. Now that we think about it, he has a lust for human flesh.
But I think no Warcraft launch, and this includes Warcraft 3 Reforged, which was panned by critics, but I mean, if you expected anything more than what you got from that, you're dumb anyway. The worst Warcraft flop, though, was definitely the Warcraft movie.
See, I haven't seen it, but I've actually heard good things.
I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed it. Had a good time.
John's saying no.
As a non-player, I could sit back and enjoy it.
But the agent of the Kirin Tor says nay.
It's such a bummer because they have such a distinct. See, when I hear that Blizzard is like a part of a movie franchise, like I'm excited because Blizzard's cutscenes on their games are fucking amazing, dude. It doesn't matter what the game is. It could be Diablo, World of Warcraft, StarCraft. It doesn't matter. The visuals in the cinematics are amazing. So when you hear that they're going to make a movie, you're like, that makes sense because they essentially make movies with all these like cutscenes that they make.
Yeah, I still watch the Fall of the Lich King trailer sometimes when I need to pump myself up.
Yeah, but then for them to put out a movie where they're using weird like experimental technology for like face scans and things like that, like and they're using technology that so clearly dates the movie. Like you'll look back on that movie in 10 years or 20 years and know exactly what era that was made because it's all shitty special effects. Like they should have just made a fully animated movie, Blizzard cutscene style, and told like a cool Warcraft story instead of going this weird direction that they did. I feel like that was the biggest misstep of the Warcraft series.
Interesting. All right, Davis, rapid fire because we're running a little long here. You got some movies, you got some products.
I'll just do
Go
my
time,
favorites
baby.
from these. Yeah. So
Okay.
one of my favorite flops of a movie is A Sound of Thunder, which you guys don't.
I've never even
James,
heard of that.
Because it was this big sci-fi to do for a while, and
How
then
big?
I mean,
When was this?
was like maybe 8 to 10 years ago.
What?
And-
I've never even
yeah.
heard of this.
I know. It made 1.9 million at the box office and cost between 80 and 100. So what happened
Holy moly.
Yeah. And what happened was they were filming and they got done shooting everything.
Oh my god.
And before they got to the special effects, they ran out of money. So they just released it. And so
I'm looking at images from it, and I gotta say, just looking at like photos from like art from the books and from the movie, like this has Chris Davis written all over it, dude.
I was so hyped. I was so hyped because the story
It looks
sounded
like it was
so
shot in the
good.
1970s.
It
I'm
does.
looking at the photos. It's
Dude,
so
Ben
bad.
Kingsley is in this?
Yeah. No, there's some bigger actors in it.
Sci-fi.
Edward Burns.
It's sci-fi, definitely reminiscent of like 1970s sci-fi with like the weapons and the spacesuits.
We might have to watch this movie.
Then they're on a planet with. I'm looking at a photo of a T-Rex.
It's
wow.
It's the special
this
effects
other dinosaur,
are...
which is half.
Dude,
half
I'm on
dinosaur
the
and half gorilla.
I'm on the Wikipedia page right
is
now,
this thing?
and this is important to note because we just found a new award show that we need to monitor, maybe interview these people. But at the 2005 Stinkers Bad Movie Awards. The film was nominated for several, but the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards has appealed to me. Yeah, I never even heard of this, Davis.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I was pumped because I had knew the story. The author is escaping me. He's big.
Ray Bradbury.
Ray Bradbury, thank you. And so I was always a fan of like that story.
And you don't know how to read, so you were like, I need them to make
Now,
a movie
I
out
say-
of this.
I-
This is going to be very beneficial to me.
I spit out Ray Bradbury only because I'm on the Wikipedia. I had never heard of this story. So,
Dude.
so
Wow, the cover art for it is pretty good. Like, this is something that you would click on Netflix and be like, oh, I'll check it. Oh, wait.
And the description sounds like a lot of fun. And you're like, wow, this is something I could be interested in. And it's awful. I mean, it is so bad. It's so bad. It's funny. And so
I gotta say that the T-Rex body with the gorilla head dinosaur creature really is what turns me off.
It's selling you, huh?
Yeah. What the hell am I seeing here?
All right, what else you got, Davis?
And just as I was going down the rabbit hole in this, I was just so happy to see this listed because I had no idea how well this movie had done very recently. Thankfully, it did terribly, and I'm very happy to hear that because I guess it was kind of the last straw that broke the camel's back as for getting the X-Men out of their hands, and that was the Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, one of the awful movie.
And I have still refused to watch it. It's going to be one of those things where I have to lose a bet to watch it, and might be something in the Discord we can do. But I think it only made 60
Patreon,
million.
baby.
And yeah, and it cost 200, so it was a flop and a half. And then the one I was sad on that I saw on a bunch of these lists was Titan AE. I really
yes.
was a fan of those style of animated movies in the 90s. And
Yeah, that would have worked for
especially.
the World of Warcraft movie that John was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just kind of, it was in one of those weird places where it wasn't quite a kid's movie, but it didn't really appeal to adults or like older teens very much. So it just kind of flopped. It just didn't find its place in its audience. But I watched that movie still, and I love it.
All right, you get one product to name.
Well, if you originally listened to the Best Damn Nerd Show, you would know that you could only listen to us on one product when we launched.
Well, not only.
No, it was just this one. It was just the one that we promoted.
Yes.
It had the best audio, and that was the Zune. One of the worst product launches in history. It went up against, James, you have Tim's. It was his iPod. So it went up against the iPod, and
that iPod's a tough old gal too, I'll tell you that.
And when it came down to it, it just didn't go against the iPod because it was that bad. It was just wasn't marketed well. The UI on it was not great. It didn't feel good in your hand. So
I've known one person in reality that's ever had a Zune, but
and
just
from
one.
that big of a company, you would think you know of more.
The Zune. Well, that I could, we're going to take another break. So pause your Zunes or other non-name brand MP3 playing devices now. It's still better than Spotify. We're going to take a break. On the other side, we're going to be talking about our latest bracket for the Discord right here on the Best Damn Nerd Show.
Hi, I'm Mark Truex, and you may know me as the CSO of Star Labs from the Best Damn Nerd Show, and I'd like to invite you to join me and the Imperial Commissar Jeff Budd on another podcast of ours, the Ultra Monthly Podcast, a retrospective and monthly show where we dive deep into the Ultraverse, the 1990s superhero comic book universe from Malibu Comics, and we believe it's prime time. The Ultraverse got the love it always deserved. Are you an Ultraforce fan? We are too. You missed the glory of the 90s comic book boom? So do we. And are you obsessed with these Ultras? Damn right we are. And you can join us monthly as we geek out over classic characters like Prime, Mantra, Rune, and the Nightman. So jump on now to the Ultra Monthly Podcast and subscribe today on Spotify, iTunes, and everywhere podcasts are found.
Hey nerd. Lore Master Tim here, and I've come with a rather indecent proposal. We want you to join in the conversation. If you aren't already a member of our Discord, what are you even doing? You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the BDNS. And if you're crazy, odds are we'll talk about it on the show. So get kooky, and above all, let's get nerdy.
Welcome back to the Best Damn Nerd Show. James Kincaid, John Craig, Chris Davis here with you for one final segment tonight. I know we were talking a lot about failures to launch last segment, but this is something that we are going to successfully launch, I hope, and that's our latest bracket for the Discord. You know, we brought you the October slasher themed one in back for spooky season, Davis. And you know, we had suggested doing the console bracket, but there's still just so much debate raging about what to include and everything like that. And so we really hadn't made decisions on that. And then, like a ray of light, a great idea came from the Discord, from the Gay Florida Nerd, after listening to the Jocks versus Nerds episode, and where we talked a lot about competitive gaming and sports and everything like. And he suggested that we just do sports versus competitive games in a bracket. And we all thought that was a great idea. And so we took it to the committee and the Council of the Ancients, and we've got ourselves our next bracket here. 16 entrants. So 1 through 8 seeds on each side, just like last time. And I have been given, like Moses with the stone tablets with the 10 commandments, I've been given the seating and the entrance to this next bracket. Are you ready, gentlemen?
Wait, hang on. Before you do the seating, can you just explain how it works? So, do the sports side play the game side every time?
That's a great
or at
question.
Least in the first round.
That's a great question. So, as it's matched up right now, yes. So it will be like the number 1 seed from the sports side taking on the 8th seed from the gaming side, and so forth.
Now, when you say committee,
the Council of Ancients,
the one-man committee.
There's no one-man
The
committee.
rest of us.
There's nothing. Nothing could be further from the truth. This is not me. This is a shadow organization within the Best Damn Nerd Show.
I did partake in at least the gathering of names.
See, John's in the John is in the Illuminati. So
I did make some suggestions on what could be on the list. I was not involved in the seating.
John is a part of this
if you have any
shadowy
seating,
organization.
you need to contact the governing body, a'ka.
I'm not. I just am the mouth of this very shady organization. I don't do much other than that. But here we go. I'm very excited for this. Again, great idea by Gay Florida Nerd in the Discord. That's bestdamnnerdShow.com/Discord. So this is sports versus competitive.
Ask him what his suggestions were for this.
You don't want that. You don't want to open that.
His suggestion usually just is the Elmo fire gif with everything burning. He wanted chaos, and this is what he's getting. I'm very interested to see how this goes. I have a feeling sports are just going to get trounced, but here we are.
I mean, come on. We have a voting system in the nerd shows. Like, how many of these sports are actually going to get through? It's not even fair.
You're not even putting it out in a place that like sports fans can even access it.
Well,
talk about biases.
Like Davis doesn't even know how to use the Discord for the most part.
Okay, as we demonstrated in our Jocks versus Nerds episode, is that while we are super nerds, we also have a heavy sports background. So certainly the three of us.
I have a feeling that some of these sports will actually make a deep run, especially depending on what they're seeded up against.
Well, let's get to it. Let's start with the sports side.
So you're going to do seedings, and then you're going to talk matchups?
Yeah, we'll go through through the 16 entrants, and then we'll see who matched up where.
Okay.
We'll go through 1 through 8 on the sports side, and then we'll do 1 through 8 on the gaming side. Number 1 for sports, NFL football or XFL football. It's football. The number 1 seed for sports. I think that's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, football makes the most money. It's the Super Bowl.
It's the American sport. It's America's pastime now.
I am already shocked because of the committee of who I know is on the committee. Didn't pick baseball first. So
yeah. I think that you might be surprised that although I don't fully trust the Illuminati and this shadow organization is that they do that they are trying to make the best decision for business here and trying to be fair and just, despite all you pricks that may think otherwise. But that's their words, not mine. Number 2 seed, but get ready to be rocked by this one, because if you think I'm making the decisions, I certainly wouldn't have done this. The number 2 seed on the sports side is soccer.
Boo.
Very popular worldwide.
Upset.
I mean, as this is an American poll, I don't even think soccer should be on the list, honestly.
Very popular. Some would argue the most popular sport in the world. Some would say the most popular sport in the third world. But I digress.
I'm just going to put this out there. Don't vote for this one on like theory. Like, vote for it if you like soccer, not because other people like soccer. Okay, because that's some bullshit right there.
Soccer 2 seed. All right, the 3 seed. Damn it. 3 seed. America's original pastime, baseball, clocking in at number 3. So we got football 1, soccer 2, baseball 3.
Probably the nerdiest sport too.
Well,
statistics and
all sports have statistics, Davis.
Yeah, but not to the level that baseball does.
Yeah, and not to the level that baseball now runs its game by.
Yeah.
I mean, they all do it, but baseball to a very high extent now.
And the 4th seed, basketball.
The only seed that matters.
So okay, Davis is a former basketball coach. I can see where you would throw your support behind that. We'll see how basketball does.
I think that one could potentially make a deep run too.
We'll see. Clocking at number 5. Now this was this is a grouping, which you see one of these really on both sides of the brackets here. Oh, the Olympic sports. So the Olympiad is the 5 seed here.
Curling.
Yeah. Oh, that's
a lot of people get behind
basketball.
Jamaican bobsledding.
Sport.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, hockey, which is also there's lots of crossover.
We didn't really think this list through, guys.
It's not us.
No, but it's the idea of it, and I think a lot of people get behind the Olympics a lot more than other sports because you're rooting for your country, so it's a lot easier to just pop in and be like, yeah, no, that's my squad.
Yeah, I mean, as we're thinking about it, I wish Global Guts would have maybe made an entrant here.
Dude, the voting icon for Olympics should be the Russian flag.
No. America, damn it. All right, the 6th seed is hockey. I know, Davis, you're a big fan of the hockey as well. I'm sort of ambivalent towards it. I don't think hockey's making a deep run.
Best live watching sport there is. So much fun. Go to a hockey game. You'll have the time of your life.
I think hockey and basketball are so great to watch because they're just action packed the whole time. Like, stuff is happening. There's not a lot of downtime.
And go to minor league hockey at that. You get $1 beer night with $1 hot dogs, $2 beers. Let's go! You're gonna have.
I know Mark and Jeff are big fans of the Gulls down in San Diego.
You can get COVID.
Yeah. I forgot. Yeah, I forgot. I was gonna give Davis a new title tonight, and that is the Super Spreader, Chris Davis. So, not the Super Shredder, but the Super Spreader. All right. So 6th seed hockey. Number 7 is boxing. The Sweet Science. Coming in as a 7 seed.
I still think this should have been MMA, but
MMA
whatever.
could be the 8th seed.
Boxing is so classic. I'm sorry. It's just it has a place in history. So many
where it belongs. Before people realized that you could kick other people.
Yeah, and it does have some, conspiracy around of like how much it is fixed and all that. So there's some hype there on people vote.
I'm so glad you said that, Davis. And, fixed or predetermined. The 8th seed for sports is professional wrestling.
Isn't that an Olympic sport?
No, that's amateur wrestling. This is professional wrestling, John. This is with steel chairs and the Predator and the like. And so with the Best Damn Nerd Show's history of having, pro wrestlers like the Predator on, I think that the Illuminati made a very good decision with with this here. So the final 8 seed, perhaps to make a Cinderella run, but I doubt it. Pro wrestling.
You left out golf.
I didn't leave out anything.
Tennis.
Yeah.
And
leaving out tennis is
and cricket, the world sport.
No, fuck cricket.
Again, if I had my way, tennis would be on there. I'm named after a tennis legend, so I didn't make all these decisions, but the chips fell where they may. I'm happy to see pro wrestling included in this. I'm very surprised by that, but I'm happy to see that it did in fact make the cut. Let's jump over to the gaming side, though. The 1 seed for competitive gaming.
Oh God, I'm already disrespected, and I don't know.
Hey, this is Fortnite is the 1 seed for competitive gaming. Certainly a huge money generator. It's cool with the kids. I know next to nothing about it, but it is the 1 seed. John, your reaction?
I reluctantly approve.
And I'm throwing in a conspiracy theory that the Illuminati put Fortnite at the 1 because they know that our Discord is older and does not play
match fixing
Fortnite, and wrestling will easily beat Fortnite.
I don't think, dude. People love Fortnite. It's one of the most popular games out there right now.
Yeah, 12
for 16 and under.
Yeah.
Well,
the only people still watching pro wrestling are sad 35-year-olds.
Okay, you're working a little stiff there, John.
Can we rename our Discord the Tinfoil Hat Room? Can we rename that the Illuminati channel?
Oh yeah, I think that can be done.
That's so great.
After this recording.
Put that on a t-shirt. Yeah. Wait for the episode to hit at least.
Yeah.
All right, the 2 seed for gaming is League of Legends. Again, another one that I don't know a ton about. I've seen it. I'm aware of its existence and its popularity. John, your reaction?
I mean, it definitely belongs on the list. I think that Riot invested so much in their esports program that they really elevated the whole genre quite a bit. I'm a little sad because League of Legends is legitimately just a Dota ripoff that Blizzard should own, but they just were stupid. So they didn't do anything with Dota, even though it had a huge player base. I don't know. I think it definitely belongs at the top of this list.
It's funny that you bring that up because the number 3 seed is Dota.
Yeah.
So,
well, look, I mean, honestly, like they're the same game genre, but they're worlds apart in their player base, and both are massive in their own right in terms of prize pools and viewership and everything else. So both definitely belong on the list for competitive gaming.
Now here on the other side of the bracket comes the grouping, and this is one that's the nearest and dearest to my heart from the competitive gaming side, and that is fighting games. So you got your Street Fighter, your Tekken, your Super Smash Brothers, Mortal Kombat, and your Mortal Kombat versus DC. So, the fighting games coming into the 4 seed. When I first heard about this idea, I kind of thought that this could be a 1 or a 2, but they slip all the way to the 4 here.
Well, yeah, it's weird. Oh no, it's not. I thought of the matchup. It's not. Okay, I thought there was another conspiracy against me, but no.
God damn! All these Illuminati theories. It's just cool it, man.
I think like in our esports, in our Jocks vs. Nerd episode, I don't even remember which episode actually. We really got into the discussion about fighting games. Like they are one of the original competitive games. It was that episode, yeah. Mm-hmm. Because of the arcade scene. I think they definitely belong on this list, if for no other reason than just a nod to the history of competitive gaming. But there's still a big scene. I mean,
absolutely.
Thousands
look at
and
Evo.
Thousands of people go to Evo every year. That's one of the biggest gaming tournaments ever. So there's a huge scene for it. It might not have the viewership that like League of Legends does, but maybe they just don't like pay for view bots to the same level that Riot does. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I'm not accusing them of anything. I'm just saying, like,
I feel like, and when you hear the term like FGC, like fighting game community, I feel like the community aspect for them it's so widespread. There are so many big tournaments. There and like lots of little sort of offshoot tournaments too that maybe aren't officially sanctioned and stuff like that. So there's a huge community backing behind it. So of course it was going to make this list. The 5th seed is Counter-Strike. We discussed that in our shooter episode. John, your thoughts on Counter-Strike coming in at 5? I can never remember, John, if you were a Counter-Strike player or not.
Yes, shut up. It's the greatest esport of all time.
No, I always get them confused. I don't know if you played Counter-Strike or Seglia played Counter-Strike. One of you played SOCOM.
Yeah, that was my like entry into competitive gaming was Counter-Strike. Also my entry into like the video production world, because I was making like little frag movies, and that turned into like me learning how to use cameras and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean that it definitely belongs in this list. I would say while StarCraft was booming in South Korea, Counter-Strike really shed light on the competitive gaming world for North America, and I think opened the door for a lot of the console esports and really a lot of the competitive games that are big today.
Yeah, well said.
You're opening up you're opening up the conspiracy theory one more time, because now you've pitted C squared against each other.
We're gonna get to the matchups.
I'm gonna be pissed.
Son of a bitch!
We're gonna get to the matchups after this. So just take it easy. Call of Duty is the 6th seed for gaming. So similar game to Counter-Strike, right?
I mean,
in the sense that it's like a first-person shooter, yes, but it's a pretty different like style of game. It's a lot more fast-paced.
It's like a Counter-Strike for ADD kids and dum-dums.
Okay. Well,
dude, you loved Call of Duty. Like you put more hours in on Call of Duty.
I wasn't very good at games, so that's the one I could play.
He wasn't of sane mind. The 7th seed is Rocket League, and I believe John, you said it, I think in a previous episode, that this game has done more for soccer in America than soccer has done.
For sure. Is it seeded against soccer in this? We'll get to that.
And number 8, the 8th seed, sentimental favorite, StarCraft in the 8th seed. What's
it belongs, man. It belongs.
The OG, right?
Yeah, pour one out for StarCraft. I feel like to this day it's still one of the most fun competitive games to watch. It's terrible to play. It's one of the least enjoyable games in your life to play. Like when you play games, you're supposed to like have a good time, relax, take it easy. StarCraft, the entire time, like you feel like you should be clicking more and pressing more buttons and like doing more and thinking of more shit. And then it's like the games can go like 45, 50 minutes long and you lose. At the end of it, you're just like stressed out. You're like, did I just waste an hour of my fucking life totally stressed out of my mind, and then I have ultimately lost from a decision that I made like 2 minutes in?
All I know is that you welched on a bet about StarCraft, John. So John made a bet many years ago I don't even remember what my end of the bargain was, but I held up to it. And that your end of the bargain was that you would only play Terran moving forward in StarCraft.
Hold on a second. Okay. In my defense, the Protoss are pretty cool, dude.
That's no defense.
Look.
You're a Welcher, dude.
I would never play the bug people. As one of my bosses at Machinima, we were at a StarCraft event and we were producing some content, and one of my bosses was like, "Are those fucking cockroaches running around?" I was like, "Yes, they are. There's literally a unit in the game called a roach." I would never play the bug race.
You never play Zerg.
The Terrans are just boring, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
You made a bet, dude. You made a bet and you welched, dude.
Why would I play Terran when I can have a spell called Psionic Storm?
You're a rat fink and a welcher. But clocking at number 8 for the gaming side is StarCraft. All right, so let's quickly go over the first round matchups, which I will take to the Discord. That's bestdamnnerdshow.com/Discord if you want to vote.
Should we do predictions, or is that going to lead?
Well, no, we can just say who you want to win, who you think will win. But in the first round, we will have football versus StarCraft. I think
that's a
American football.
That's a tough 1-8.
That's depressing that's in the first round.
I think StarCraft could maybe go on a little Cinderella run here because they have a lot of fun.
It's also depressing that I'm going to have to vote for football because it's my favorite sport. I'm sorry. I love StarCraft, but I just went on a whole tirade about how much I love watching StarCraft, but fuck StarCraft. I'm deleting that shit right now, dude. I'm all about football.
I was going to say,
Davis, who do you got in the first round? There, that one.
I I have to go football. That pretty easily on that one. That's StarCraft was never an item in my life.
That's the 1-8 matchups. All right, number 2, the 2 seed soccer taking on the 7 seed Rocket League. I smell an upset. I think the better soccer game is moving on.
I have a feeling the Illuminati, when they were creating this bracket, didn't see things based on any other criteria than like how they predicted the rounds playing out and how fun that would be. But I respect it because I think that there's an obvious choice here. I'm not going to reveal my vote, but I think there's an obvious choice.
All right, and then it is baseball versus Call of Duty, also in the first round. Davis, what do you think of that one?
That's an interesting one because you have a sport where, completely unathletic people can make millions of dollars. And then you have a game where really dumb kids can make a lot of money on a really poorly made game. So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think it depends on what our listeners think of baseball. A lot of people think baseball's boring. I don't, but
yeah. This will be like of all the ones on this list, this is the truest like boomer versus zoomer matchup.
Oh yeah.
Because like one like
well,
with baseball,
just wait.
with baseball, you could like fall asleep and wake back up and have not missed any action.
And there's still 2/3 of the game left.
Yeah.
All right, the next matchup, basketball taking on Counter-Strike.
Yeah, and this is the one you put Segley and I against each other.
I didn't even think. First of all, I didn't make this list.
Isn't he?
I thought he was a SOCOM guy.
Yeah.
John's the Counter-Strike guy.
No.
Oh, well, I'll go against John any day. I can rally Discord much better than John can. So.
Davis
I feel
is
good
just,
about basketball.
Davis, you belong in the tinfoil hat
Discord
room.
votes basketball. First of all, no one in our Discord likes basketball except you. If people vote Discord, if people vote basketball over Counter-Strike, I'm quitting the Discord for an undisclosed period.
Wow.
Of time.
Well, we know John
will
doesn't
be
keep to his word,
depressed.
so vote basketball.
I will be so disappointed in all of you.
Two words, John. Space Jam.
I don't think. Look, I don't think
good.
Counter-Strike needs to win this whole thing. Okay, I'm not going to go that far and say that. But for basketball to beat it, no, it's just disrespectful. That's just disrespectful. Okay.
All right. We have the Olympics versus fighting games. I go fighting games all day here. Sorry, Olympics.
Damn, that's a good matchup. That's a
try
really
again
good
in
matchup.
4 years.
Well, because each one has a lot inside of it, a lot packed in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Olympics, there's a lot there. So I like
also,
the matchup there.
In terms of tournament style, it's also like medaling, like getting first, second, third.
Yeah.
In fighting games, it's like if you make the top 8, that's like a good, premier placement. So yeah, it's
a good
very,
point.
Very
Yeah,
interesting matchup.
It's almost like the Illuminati knew what they were doing. All right,
And
the next.
Well, and at last part on that, at Evo, a lot of the times like people are rallying behind somebody that's playing
where they're from
their country.
So true.
So that's very, very interesting there, Illuminati.
Yeah, I like that. All right, 6 seed hockey taking on the 3 seed from the gaming side, Dota. I feel like Dota's just gonna stomp hockey.
I don't know.
I feel like not enough
Depends
people
on what
know
people like.
too much about Dota because League of Legends is so big that hockey might get some pity votes here for the fighting.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well,
Canadians that listen.
We do actually.
I
know one in particular. I believe his name's the Commander or something like that. Yeah, he's in the Discord.
I might be able to rally the Commander then to the hockey side.
You could. You can try.
I'm campaigning for hockey.
Davis is in the tank
for all the
for hockey.
No, I'm against some.
Coach Davis.
Is there a game on here, Davis, that you feel strongly about, like a video game?
No.
All right, we gotta keep it moving here.
No.
All right.
Not.
7 seed boxing taking on the 2 seed from the gaming side, League of Legends. Old versus slightly younger.
That one, I don't feel like boxing is going to have too much behind it.
No, I think it's going to be one and
but
done.
I will probably vouch for boxing. I enjoy going to like fight nights, dressing up.
Dressing up.
Yeah, because you're going to the fight, it's like, it's a big thing. Like you go to Vegas, you dress up, you go to the fight, or like, if it's like like Holyfield versus Tyson back in the day, you go to your friend's house, you're dressed up, you play like.
Yeah, it was an event. Yeah.
it was a big thing. It was a lot of fun, and it got people rallied around it.
And finally, the 1 seed from the gaming side, Fortnite, taking on the 8 seed from sports, professional wrestling. Could be a one and done for old pro wrestling. Maybe the Cinderella story will continue. Who knows? I like both of these 1-8 matchups a lot. I think StarCraft has a chance of getting by football. I don't know.
No, it has no chance.
I don't know. We'll
way,
see.
dude.
I like both these 1-8 matchups.
I
do.
And I think like if our audience wasn't a bunch of geriatric fucks, that Fortnite would probably win too. But we have a bunch of geezers like
I'd
us.
like to point out that I love each and every one of our
We
listeners.
have a bunch of geezers like us that don't play Fortnite listening to the show. So I think Fortnite loses here.
Wow,
Well,
it could
our
be an upset.
Our podcast is in 45-second clips, so it's tough to get some of the younger generation.
That's true. With like flashing colors that give you an epileptic seizure.
But I'm excited for this bracket. When by the time you are hearing this, Nerdosphere, for the most part, these first round matchups will be in the Discord for you to vote on. Again, great idea from the Discord from Gay Florida Nerd to sort of put that out into the ether, and the council, the committee made this happen. So that is going to do it for this edition of the Best Damn Nerd Show. I'm very excited to see how this all plays out. Come on, wrestling. Have a great week, everyone. And remember, if you're a nerd, always say it loud and say it proud.
Hey everyone, Chris Seglia, CEO of the Tenno Media Network here. Thank you so much for listening to our content, but we need your help. Please rate us 5 stars, subscribe, and give us a shining review wherever you listen to this podcast. It really, really helps us out. And one more thing, please tell a friend if you can. Tell them Tasty Steve, Hanzo Gonzo, Markman, Rip, Ricky Replay, or someone who everyone loves sent you or something. That might help. Anyway, again, thank you for listening. And if you want more, make sure to check us out at www.ten-o.gg, www.10o.gg.